Hey mom, just me. Yes, I need a little bit of a trim up here. So I thought you'd be interested on how this all works because it's something I talked to you about before. So this is what I use to make mead in. Now, normal recipes do 5 gallons. This is just a 2-gallon bucket. Now, personally, what I have found for flavor wise, it's best to caramelize it. Put the honey in the pot and boil it. If you boil honey, it quadruples in size, so you need a really tall pot. Now, personally, there's a whole like a professional judgment circle, and anytime you make a change to the classic recipe of mead, it's supposedly something different. And when you caramelize mead, it's called a brochet. Now, I disagree with that because back in the old times, the Scandinavians and so forth, when they got raw honey in the wild, they would have to boil it to get rid of the bugs and debris that would be in it. So in my mind, the brochet is actually closer to classic mead than the modern day mead is. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, so there's a bunch of modern additives that you can put in, like yeast nutrients and so forth. I do have that. I don't have some of the other stuff. But mead by itself is water, honey, and then a yeast. So this thing is a tri-stage airlock. As the yeast eats the sugars, they release carbon. Carbon is bad for it. Oxygen is worse for it. If your drink oxidizes, it messes with the color, the flavor, the whole 9 yards. So the airlock, this is sanitizer. I have a kitchen grade sanitizer. It's a no rinse sanitizer, so once it dries, you can actually eat off the surface. It's the cleanest surface in the house. So this bucket is literally the cleanest thing we have. But anyway, so this is sanitizer. The carbon the yeast releases comes up the tube. This will lift up and it bubbles out. Let me push down here. There you go. See, plenty of bubbles, which means the yeast is doing well. This is Christine's first favorite stage. What this is technically called is the must or the primary or first fermentation. So the way it would work in most modern brews is for like the first week to 2 weeks, you're supposed to stir it 2 to 3 times a day to get extra carbon out. You add nutrients periodically to make sure the yeast has plenty to eat on and is healthy. And in about 2 weeks, you take it out of the bucket and you put it into a large glass carboy, or basically you think of it as a glass 1-gallon milk jug. And then you let it continue to ferment there for about another 4 months, actually. And at about the 6-month point, you move it from the glass carboy, you bottle it, you seal the bottles, and then you let the bottles sit for anywhere between 6 months to a year. Now, what I've learned in the last 8 months is that there is a disagreement in brewing communities that leaving it in primary with what's called the yeast cake, where the yeast settles and dies, it's turning out that more taste tests find that to be the preferred method. So I just leave it in the primary bucket for 6 months to a year. If it gets too cold, the yeast goes to sleep. If it gets too hot, it kills the yeast, just like in baking. If you're not careful and debris gets into the bucket, it can not only ruin everything as far as killing the yeast, it can actually rot the drink. Yeah, that's a quick rundown. Boiling honey is a dangerous method because it does get 4 times in size. It's very frothy, and if honey gets on you, it's sticky. So heated honey is dangerous. But yeah, that's it in less than 5 minutes. Love you.